Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. And I first have to start and say happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans out there this morning. First one that comes to mind, of course, is my grandfather, James Jackson, who was in the Navy. And then secondarily comes in Uncle Thaddeus here in the Java Cafe when we talk about veterans. And so I am glad to have you all here this morning. It is a thankful, wait a minute. Today's supposed to be Testimony Tuesday, not Thankful Tuesday. So I messed up. As you all know, we were out last night with Higher Ground. And so I was rushing around making sure everything was working right. So we'll switch it up this week. It is a thankful shot of Java, partially based on some testimonies, but I'm glad to have you all in the Java Cafe this morning. We're going to go in the Instagram section and see who's over there this morning. I am down to one screen, so you all bear with me. We have Fathead, I think that's Reggie Santos over on Instagram. He jumped on, and also DJ J Dex was on as well. Let's jump in the Facebook section of the Java Cafe and see who is on this morning. Mama Java is in the room this morning, bright and early. Good to see you. Nisi, it's good to see you in the room. And as I said last night, see you here this morning. It was great to see you face to face yesterday. Sister Debbie, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. The Real Boston Media is in the room. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. Who else is here? Pastor Marion, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. And she is saying happy Veterans Day to others. Also, Mama Java is as well. I know that vets are definitely special to her. She worked at Veterans Administration for so many years. Grandpa was a vet. My grandmother, I think, was technically a vet. She would let us know that she was an air raid warden, air ward. She something. When they would come in and potentially drop bombs, she would do something. I think it was in New York. So anyway, shout out to all the veterans this morning. I want to just check in a little bit, just on a lot of conversation on social media and in the circles that I am a part of, pundits, political strategists, and operatives. There is a lot of conversation going on about the city council presidency. And while I'm not going to say a lot right now, I've talked to some city councilors and some people from community about this, the process, and it is very interesting. And so we hopefully will be speaking with some city councilors about it very soon, and bring them into the Java Cafe to talk about where we are in this country, and what's going on. I believe there is a different lens through which we have to look at a lot of our policy and political decisions and people that we elect in leadership to do that. And so that is something that's out there. I'm having I had two conversations so far this morning via text about it. And we're going to bring a couple of city councilors into the Java Cafe to talk about the presidency, the process, whether these folks right now, I'm only aware of one person that quote unquote, well, two, Counselor Zapata, otherwise known as Gigi, declared that she has the 7 votes. Julie Mejia has declared that she's running. I've heard of some other people that may submit their names for the city council presidency. And so it's going to be interesting. They don't vote until the first session in January. But as I've said to you all before a lot of this got out there, the city council presidency consideration hit the night of the election. It maybe even, I've heard in some cases it happens beforehand. So there's a lot to pay attention to there. Just a note, The city council president is basically next in line. If anything happens to the mayor, we know that the mayor is going out of town this week if she's not already gone. City council president Ruthie Louis-Jean would, if anything happened in Boston, she would be the go-to person as a city council president. City council president also assigns the committees like Ways and Means, which oversees the budget and the process of what the city council would like to see in the budget, as well as post audit. There's education, there's public safety, public health. The weight of some of these committees through the years has changed, and how laws are presented and things like that. So we have to pay attention to what's going on with the city council presidency. Let's go in and check in and see. Some others have come in on the Instagram side. Shout out to Raina. Is that Raina? Right? No. Raina Burden, and also Marvin Vinay jumped on Instagram as well. One of the political strategists and operatives in our city. Over on the Facebook section, Milton, brother, good to see you in the room, jumped in as well. Michelle D. Smith is in the room as well. Good to see you in the room. Brother Leonard, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. And the Real Boston Media, thank you for sharing today's live. So it's been a couple of weeks since we have checked in and had a Testimony Tuesday, which today it ended up being a Thankful Tuesday because, I made a mistake. But in testimonies and thankfulness, for those of you that are new to the Java Cafe or watching, we ask people to participate here in the Java Cafe. Don't just sit there and listen and watch, unless you're at work, and then that's very different. But what is one reason that you are thankful this morning? With all the stuff that's going on in the world, in the Java Cafe, we are very intentional about gratitude. We gratitude, Black joy. Speaking of that, I want to let you all know that on Thursday morning, I have a guest out of Baltimore, Maryland. It's coming in. He's an elder, but I'm going to say Brother Shay Stansberry from Baltimore, Maryland is coming into the Java Cafe. He is a comedian, hilarious. He's a content creator and personality in his own right. And so we were looking at this morning, but he's going to be with us Thursday at 9:30. Thursday at 9:30. The importance of Black joy. We're going to talk about that on Thursday at 9:30. And then at 10 a.m. on Thursday, Anthony Davis Jr. is coming into the Java Cafe to have a conversation with us about politics, the campaign, national politics. He's a national and international now. So I had to, hopefully I'm glad I was able to book him 48 hours out because, he's big time. But that's Thursday's programming. Tomorrow, we will be back here for We Need to Know Wednesday. At any moment, some of these counselors may say, hey, I want to pop on. And so just be prepared for that as well. So as I said a few minutes ago, do me a favor, go in the comments and put one reason why you are thankful or have a testimony this morning. And I think it's so apropos that Dina popped in because she definitely has a testimony. And we are thankful that she is home and she is coming along and doing better. So Dina, good to see you in the room this morning. And at any Tuesday, you want to come and testify, you can. So let us know. We have 1 or 2 words so far for why people are thankful this morning. Nisi said that she's thankful for health. Mama Java said that she is thankful for life. Michelle D. Smith said that she is thankful for God and the promises of his word, especially in these current turbulent times in our nation. Look, everybody, the pastor, Sharon Cornelius is in the room. Sharon, good to see you in the room this morning. All right, folks, I need to see some more words in here. Charlotte said that she is thankful for family. I'm glad that she's a part of the Java family. Good to see you in the room, Charlotte, this morning. I think I saw another comment from you. Let me just make sure. Oh, that was just a greeting. Milton is saying good morning to Mom. Milton, why are you thankful this morning? Can I get a word, brother? In the comments, that would be great. Dina said that she is thankful that she is alive and she has her hands raised, and for healing and for favor. Absolutely. The other thing I wanted to mention to you all is, and it just left me that quick. Oh, I want to shout out and thank Dr. Brandy Brooks, who will be with us soon for her holiday check-in with us that she does. Dr. Brandy will be with us soon. Her and Darian Johnson had an event last night at Roxbury Community College. Higher Ground is the organization that she oversees, and its mission is to support young people through the education process. They've helped students become students and families who are homeless. They've fed students. They have fixed schools. They have painted schools. So Dr. Brandy Brooks and Darian brought together the president of Roxbury Community College, the chairman of the Senate Ways and Means here in Massachusetts, and also Senator Liz Miranda, and also Secretary Tutwiler from the Mass Department of Education. And they had a conversation entitled "From Dollars to Impact." And in these times, it is definitely a most apropos conversation. We had the opportunity to indulge in some food from Suya Joint. I got to see folks from Union Capital that was there, of course, Higher Ground. We had a good brother there playing the violin. Shout out to Dante Luna that was there with his team, making me feel all small and whatnot, because they got the big, wonderful, he comes with a team, like 5 people and cameras. I had my one set up, and we were able to broadcast. We were able to do that. So if you did not see it last night, please go check it out. We also have to just say his name and celebrate Hubie Jones, who is the founder of Higher Ground. We were able to make sure, though he was not able to be in the building, that was one of the main goals of Higher Ground, to make sure that Hubie Jones would be able to watch it. And so shout out to him and his legacy. And we really appreciate everything that he's poured into community. All right, let's go back in the Java Cafe and check in. Real Boston Media said, I tried to read up on city council president stuff and closed the tab. That was confusing. So there's a lot there. By charter, the city council doesn't have a whole lot of power. It has changed, and one of its biggest sticking points of power is voting on the budget, negotiating during budget season. I think in the last 2 city council terms, that vote on the budget has really been exercised. They're also in this last budget cycle, what City Councilor Brian Worrell, who was the head of Ways and Means, was able to do around getting a lot of diverse type of support and funding in that budget was huge. And that's why I had asserted, for me, it was Brian and or Julia. And at the time, I wasn't really sure if she was thinking about it, because, you know, Julia's kind of background and she's vocal, but, you know, and so so a few things there. As I said before, the city council president, if anything happens to the mayor, they become the interim mayor and finish out the term. Remember, Marty Walsh, he went to DC. City Councilor Kim Janey was the city council president and then became the first Black woman mayor of the city of Boston. By charter, the city council president can do more than one term. It's not really laid out in the city council charter of them not being able to do more than one term. However, city council rules say you can't do 2 consecutive terms. Let me reframe that. By charter, you're not barred from doing 2 consecutive terms, but by city council rules, and let me just pause there. A lot of the city council rules, if you look at the time of certain rules being implemented and changed, and look at Black and brown people that were getting on the council and that were running for mayor and city council at the same time, that's one of the most recent things. Those city council rules are interesting, but we'll leave that alone. And so City Councilor Ruthie Louisiane cannot be the city council president again. Presumably, if she could, she probably would have the votes and would. She was the top billing. And though it's been shared with me by some of the counselors that top billing is not a huge indicator of city council president. And let me just say, it's not a huge indicator of mayor, because Ayanna Pressley topped the city council at city council at large vote a couple of times, and she was never interested in mayor. But there is sort of this thing that you have the votes, you top billed. If you wanted to run, you could run. It also I'm not on the council, so I don't know, but it can have some leverage on the votes that you can secure for the president's vote, which happens in the first session after the inauguration in January. If I remember correctly, don't quote me on this. They're inaugurated on the first Monday, I believe, after the new year. Then they go across the street and they have their first city council session. The first city council session is oversaw by the oldest city council member because in real time, they don't have a president. The most senior in age, not tenure, the most senior in age city councilor oversees that first session, and there they vote for the city council president. So we're going to be paying a lot of attention to that. And shout out to the Real Boston Media for trying to do some due diligence and looking in that. The Real Boston Media again says that I was just confused because it said she declared that she had enough support to become the president, but then it said Julia and Gigi had enough too. And so I'm like, wait, what? So this is the, oh, Jesus. This is some of the offline, behind the scenes stuff that goes on in politics. As I said a few minutes ago, election night, I'm sure a couple of phone calls were being made, and maybe before election night. Hey, I'm considering running. Would you vote for me? And this is nothing new with just this cohort. In obtaining a promise of a vote, there may be some conversation about, okay, what I'll vote for you, but I want public safety. I'll vote for you, but I want ways and means. Can that be a part of the process of the behind the scenes, the politics, and the quote unquote, not this is no slight to any president's past or future, but those conversations probably are potentially happening. And these counselors are also asking about the vision of the city council president. You know, what do you want to accomplish? What are your priorities? And so those conversations are happening. I think in these times, Dina, no, he did not. And Henry Santana spanked that. I'll say at minimum, we haven't seen the final. Well, hold on. Y'all know I don't have no problem going to look. All right. City of, let me stay focused. All right. So back to the council, and I'm going to look these numbers up. City of Boston elections. Though there are conversations happening. Let's just keep it 100. I'm not going to sit here in front. There are conversations happening about, you know, what people would like to do. Yes, I would consider strongly voting for you as long as I'm able to still continue my work in this space, and I would like to do this and whatnot. It's a part of it. Let's keep it 100. And so it let me get to the Real Boston Media's other comment. So whoever wins got my backing. Yeah, it not necessarily we're going to get a couple of city councilors to come in, and maybe we'll get a past city councilor to come in and talk about it. So let's get to some election results here. Well, it's only a 4-page PDF, so that's fine. All right, city council at large. Mayor, where's at large? Okay. Rusi, I'm not Rusi. Dina, are you ready? Oh, they didn't put it in order. Jesus freaking. Okay, hold on. Frank Baker got 28,346 votes. Henry Santana got 43,904 votes. Hold on. That is a difference because on election night, Mayor Wu said that it was 10 to 12,000. The final number, the person that just texted me, I just read your text. We're going to never mind. I don't want to. Never mind. All right. So let me get back to these numbers. Real Boston Media. I saw your comment, and I want to address that. So Henry Santana had again 43,904. Frank Baker had 28,346. Henry Santana beat Frank Baker by 15,000 votes. Let me pause there real quick. A lot of you remember that I was saying that if Frank Baker gets back on the council, it's a huge indicator of where Boston is, where it's going, and potentially going back. Boston spoke the other night, parts of Boston. What was 43,000 spoke in favor of the Dominican brother. Aaron is still at large on the council, and then there's Ed Flynn. And I said before, and I'm saying this publicly, and I think I said it the other day, I have said before that John Fitzgerald can kind of, in policy and voting, can go either way. He has an old school base, but John is of a new generation. He comes from that, but the reason I say that is because if Frank Baker had got back on, Frank, Ed, and Aaron just would have been a huge distraction in my very non-expert opinion and never being on the council. But if you look at a lot of the stuff that's been going on, it's interesting. And so text me about what you mean by that. Brother Stan, aka Buster Man, good morning. Good to see you in the room. The Real Boston Media made a comment up here about backroom politics. That's an interesting way to put it. And just to be raw and real, yes, there are conversations at every level in political strategy and planning. Side note, the people that lighter than me, they do it. They're able to sit back and say, okay, I'm running for this. You're going to wait. I'll look out for you for this. And then next up, you'll run. And behind closed doors, the powers that be agree. We could do a lot better. Let me frame it like that. We could do a lot better in unifying with strategy. And Nia brought this up in my interview, and I said it to someone yesterday. Intentional strategy and strategic intention. Considering what's going on in the times, considering the ability to manage a budget, to manage a city, to go to DC, if called, we're 10 months in. I can almost guarantee that Boston's going to be called before Congress, well, at least up until January of, we vote next year, 26. At least sometime next year, the mayor could be called back, to Boston. Again, pray her protection and everything. But if anything happened to Michelle, that city council president becomes the mayor. All of these things have to be considered. And the thing that is very interesting right now, and there's a lot of different opinions about how and when and motive and all that, but City Councilor Mejia has become public about the process and put her hat in. Even away from that, with what we know about what the president does the buck stop with the counselors of voting for the president, or do we as residents call our active city councilors that are still, everybody's an incumbent, everybody that was in won, except Minyard Culpepper that's going in for D7. Should we, through our city councilors, be influential and say, hey, I've done research. I've looked at past, if they've been a counselor, I've looked at past votes. I've looked at, a lot. And I'm wondering who you're voting for. I talked to someone whose opinion and expertise in this space yesterday, and we were saying the same thing, but saying it differently. Do I feel that voters should have influence on who the city council president is through their city councilors? Absolutely. However, there are things, unfortunately, that we are not privy to. And I'm getting to the point of the Real Boston Media of how they frame backroom politics. Is there a negative connotation to that? Yes. But because of the priviness or the things that some counselors or all counselors may be aware of that is quote unquote not public, it influences their president's vote. It influences how they move and all of that. And yes, should they be as transparent and public as possible? Absolutely. But in intentional strategy and strategic intention, the old school thing is you don't always show your cards. You hold some things to the chest. You have an ace up your sleeve. As long as that is being moved toward equity, if nothing else in this president's vote, I think that the conversations and everything that's going on around it at least is giving some form of education and engagement to voters and non-voters. How the city council presidency happens going forward, I don't think will ever be the same. That's just a prediction. And so I'm going to leave that there for now. I have some ask out. You elect leadership not to micromanage every choice and decision. And this is Brother Carlos, you all. And there's the balance that, you can lobby them, but ultimately it is their vote. And I guess, and we'll need to get Carlos on, and Anthony's coming on Thursday. Where is that balance of that influence? Because you are almost, and Carlos, tell me if I'm off here. You are low key or almost voting for the mayor. Am I off? The hope, the belief, and the prayers is that the mayor would be healthy and safe. Let's also say there was a lot of chatter months ago that the mayor was going to run for other stuff. We got to keep in mind that there's this chatter. It's a whole nother conversation. There's this chatter about Ed Markey, Ayanna Pressley, and then the domino of who's running for what and all the switcheroo and chess pieces moving around. I'm just saying that's part of it. So Carlos said, and I'm going to get to Real Boston Media's point, all engagement is not good. A PSA would work without making it seem like colleagues are secretive. And I mean, Carlos, I've had some things that are accurate, but then the presentation, that's a valid point. You know what I mean? And I'll leave that alone. We're going to have some counselors come on the show and talk with us. And so the Real Boston Media made a point here. I'm going to scroll up. Hold on. I'll wind up calling Carlos. The Real Boston Media said, I kind of see what you mean. Not everything needs to be discussed in public, but in most cases, backroom politics is a strategy used by most who got some shady redacted going on. Not all of them, but there has been a trend. And I mean, that's where I say the negative connotation of the word backroom politics, that's where that comes from. As I said, balance 50-50, and sometimes it's going to be 55 and 45. Carlos is making some oh, this is the one I need clarity on, Carlos. You going to lead after calling them shady? There's only 12 others. Uh-oh. We got some good civic. Peace Institute doing their own stuff in civic engagement as well. Came on late. I invited us to create a report card on the promises they made and how to make sure we can help bring life to what they promised. That is, yes. And Chaplain Clementina, I said that like a few minutes ago. We have maybe not a report card, but we have the ability to go back and look at their votes, look at things that were said in the council, look at what they proposed for legislation and homeroom petitions and all that. So anyone that will make public that they're want to be the city council president, we do have some things to examine. Carlos makes good points, and this this has been part of my conversation. That hold on, who said that? Oh, Sharon. That it's a little, let me be honest, it's a little far-fetched. But we don't know. We just don't know. You know what I mean? And that has to be taken into consideration. So we do have the ability to go look at some votes and see how councils have moved, those that want to be city council president. And as I said, I think after this run, how we look and pay attention to that role is going to be very different. I believe it really, in my lifetime, the first time for me was in 93 when Ed Flynn went to the Vatican. That's how city council president Thomas M. Menino became interim mayor and then was mayor for 20 years. And then when Marty Walsh was appointed by President Biden, Kim Janey became the first Black woman mayor of the city of Boston. And so it's been on, folks' radars and how that plays, and they're, among pundits and strategists. How did the interim play into, the not having a Black mayor this go around and last go around rather. And so there's just a lot with this stuff. It's a lot. A lot of us look at it as sport. But when it comes to looking and predicting based on people's politics and votes and their platforms and what they got over the line, to Chaplain Clementina's point, it's something that we have to consider. And this presidency process is it's already, but it's going to be interesting how it all plays out. And ultimately, we won't know until the first session. Ray, not Ed. Hold on, let me check my phone. I'm enjoying this conversation because we are being engaged, and it's on the radar. And there are things that we have to consider with that. I'm sorry. Yeah, we definitely need midterm report cards to make a return. He said midterm report cards. They stopped doing that after Obama. Wonder why. He said all shade NT. Was sipping his tea. Wait a minute. What did the Real Boston Media say up here? That sip of Java was the most aggressive of this show's history. A lot of us, Carlos included and others, because of experience, because of being in this and seeing some things play out, and I forgot all about Instagram. Oh God, let me go over here. Okay, we're good. It's hard to sit idly by and not participate, not inform community. And how you do that, is a part is a part as well, and strategy and thinking long game. And you all know, you get, more bees with honey than you do vinegar. And I've spewed a lot of vinegar. But, I have now incorporated some apple cider vinegar. It's a little more tolerable. But the main thing I'm appreciating about this is we're being engaged. We've spent the last 20 minutes on this conversation about the city council presidency. All in all, as Carlos said, when they sit there and cast their vote, it's their decision. Their knowledge of some behind the scenes, and I know the negative connotation, their knowledge of things that we are not knowledgeable of yet influences their vote. And in this run, do we have influence? Do we say, hey, who are you thinking about voting for president? Ultimately, it's your vote. But based on my research, I believe that this person is more aligned with the reasons that I voted for you. Is that something that is and it's happened. Come on. It's happened in the past. From the top making phone calls to just everyday residents. Just saying, hey, and God, the media plays a point in this because folks leak stuff or they get aware of stuff and oh man. All right, I'm tired. We're going to get ready to wrap up and we're going to continue this conversation. Why isn't this thing moving? Okay, there we go. Hold on. Oh, okay, I got it. I got both points. Yes. So it's interesting because the Real Boston Media made a point that Charlie Baker. Oh, Jesus, I said that like a real Bostonian. Oh, because we talking about Boston. Charlie Baker. Charlie Baker was a Republican. And when I first got back to Boston and people was in his staff and whatnot, I didn't want anything to do with him. And then COVID hit and I watched him. And then from my relationship with the former head of the state HHS and found out how he was wheeling and dealing COVID test and mask and all that other stuff. Oh, even more so. I had a respect for him. But he was conservative, but he didn't align with that guy that's at 1600. So I don't want to get too far off. Real Boston Media, thank you for the clarity. And then I want to go back to the point you made in reference to the other guy. These are all good points. I really appreciate everybody that contributed, but for Carlos being in and Reverend Chaplain, what is the role of the Corey Council President? What is the role of the City Council President? And how do we work so whoever wins gets the work done? Accountability. That comes up with things and words like agenda, Tina. Chaplain Clementina. That is a whole nother topic that Malia and Dart and I talked about on GBH the other day, that we don't you can't develop a report card if you don't have a criteria by which you can report and evaluate. And is it the different sex? Is it the violence prevention people? Is it the substance use disorder people? Is it the LGBTQ? Is it the women's right? Is it How? I have ideas, and we've talked about this for freaking at least 12 years. 13 was my first, well, no, I'm sorry. 2009. Well, no, let me back up. 2009 was my first, Mayor Menino and Flynn and Yoon. We used to call them Floon. For at least 12 years, this report card. I'm going to say something. Entities whose mission and they assert that I felt this, that they speak for, influence electeds with community, at least because the meetings, the work, the food, the getting it done, the compiling, the Excel sheet, the design of it, all of it, getting the community to give their report. That's a labor of love, but people should not have to, the community should not, regular everyday residents should not have to do it for free when you got entities that are around here asserting themselves as civic engagement entities and speaking for us. No, I'm not going to say should. I believe that we would be better aligned to give a report if some of these organizations and entities whose mission it is, and they assert that they are representing us and speaking for us, do it with our input. Convene the meetings, convene the people, bring all the EDs and your government relations persons to design it and speak with community and oh man. All right, I'm out there. I'm gonna bring it back in. Hold on, Rev. We're gonna see if we can find it right now. We're gonna get ready to go because I feel a twitch over my right eye. I actually have a hard copy of the charter, Reverend Clementina. No, I don't want Gemini. It's in the charter. This is a very quick what is coming up from AI, Reverend Chaplain Clementina. City councils are responsible for local lawmaking. Well, Boston is Boston's a little bit different, but anyway, city councils are responsible for lawmaking, including passing ordinances and zoning laws, budget and finance by approving the budget, setting tax rates, and overseeing city spending and oversight of city services. All right, let's get to it's the president that I need, and they're giving, okay, that's the city council. It's giving, hold on. I'm going to have to go to City of Boston Charter, and we're going to wrap up right after this. I'm getting text over here, so I'm either getting resources or opinions. City of Boston Charter. I got to pull that. I know where it is. Okay. On page form of government modified plan A. I wonder when that was modified. Reverend Clement, you know what I'm going to do? Hold on, y'all. It should work. I am going to put the link to it's Chrome extension. The way my computer's set up, if you have Adobe, it's taken. How do I all right, share. There we go. All right. Here is the link to the city charter. It's a PDF. And everything you need to know is in there. About the city council rules and things like that. Dates of modifications are in there, and I still believe if you coincide, oh, wait a minute, I just realized what Carlos said. dates of when city council rules were modified matched with when more black and brown and women got on the council. I'm curious to what those look like. So, all right. I'm tired. We're going to get ready to go. If you're watching on James, hold on. Let me put the city council, the city charter over on here too for those that are watching on there. Hold on for 1 second. So here is the, oh, and this is where Rev is. So I got to make sure she gets it here because that's on James. I don't want, okay. Chaplain Clementina, I put it on the James page, which I see you're watching over there. You should be able to click that as a hyperlink and get right to the charter. Let me just do a quick, see if the president, wait a minute, I should be able to search city council president. City council president. Electing section 17. Here we go. Electing a city council president, section 17. See, these are these modifications, because I see one here that I think is 17H, where city council, the only city government offices that the person may hold are that of city councilor, and other offices arise from being a city councilor. If the governor appoints a city councilor to a different office, then the council may resign and take that office. There was a lot of changes that happened when Charles Yancey ran. When Charles Yancey ran for city council and mayor, yo, some of those councilors were pissed. All right. Rules and special elections. The council, okay, section 17 says the council electing a city council president. The council shall choose its president by majority vote. The president establishes rules for the city council proceedings. The eldest council member acts as the president whenever there is no president at the present or the president is absent. The mayor may summon a meeting of city council. City council controls offices over offices. I'm just trying to see if there's anything in here about these amended rules and whatnot. There's the city districts pertaining to, there's a lot in here. This thing is 78 pages. And then if you look at these amendments and dates, it's the oath is in here. Nominees for the school. Yo, this is one of the most powerful mayoral charters in the country. Yeah, it's huge. All right, we're going to wrap up. It's 10:51. Jimmy has the Twitch affiliate gene and he don't even know it. I don't know. Oh. Anyway, we're going to wrap up. Pay attention. We have to move intentionally with strategy and strategically with intention. And while it is important, it is important to keep the community informed, right, wrong, or indifferent, there are some things that the public is not privy to, that some of these counselors, elected officials, corporation leaders, your boss, that in the time of us observing, we may not have all the information. And some would say that, well, in this process, it needs to be transparent. I agree. I will just say that kind of in the context of, nah, I can't say that. Watch, pay attention, and when and if there's an opportunity to participate, do so. That's it. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Don't forget, on Thursday at 9:30 a.m., we're speaking with Shay Stansberry about the importance of Black joy. He's a comedian. Y'all going to enjoy him. I I love when I catch him live. He's just a mess. He loves the snow. And then at 10 a.m., we will speak with, we'll continue this political conversation with Anthony. Oh, Jesus, the devil. That hurt. We'll continue the conversation with Anthony Davis Jr., who is the CEO and founder of the Davis system and is very active in the political world. And quiet is kept. Designed a lot of field for a lot of people who won a lot of elections. That's it for me. Thank you all for being here today. One more check over on Instagram before we go. Hi to Kina, official. Kateria was on. Slick Vic was in. Ari, good morning. Good to see you in the room. And we're going to wrap up, and we will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. All right, y'all. I'm tired. So that means that this was a good convo. Let me just check text before I go one more time. Make sure I didn't miss nothing from the folks. I definitely didn't need to see that. Ooh, that turmeric. I'm back on my turmeric shot, y'all. Turmeric and ginger. I did kale, strawberries, and blueberry. I had some of that juice. Y'all pray for me again. All right, gratitude for you as well, Reverend Clementine. And we got some stuff to do. Whenever you're ready, let me know. All right, folks, have a great day.